Okay, welcome back to Worthy Work. We are still in Mark 2, and I'm going to be talking about the chapters 18 through 22. Jesus questioned about fasting. Think a lot of the word we read, all of it can be applied to our everyday lives, and work is a part of that. So let's get into it. Now, John's disciples and the Pharisees were fasting. Some people came and asked Jesus, how is it that John's disciples and the disciples of the Pharisees are fasting, but yours are not? Jesus answered, how can the guests of the bridegroom fast while he is with them? Very good. I don't know. They cannot, so long as they have him with them. But the time will come when the bridegroom will be taken from them, and on that day they will fast. No one sews a patch of unshrunk cloth on an old garment. If he does, the new piece will pull away from the old, making the tear worse. And no one pours new wine into old wineskins. If he does, the wine will burst the skins, and both the wine and the wineskins will be ruined. No, he pours new wine into new wineskins. So, yet again, Jesus is doing what Jesus does, coming against the law and man's ability to want to make themselves right, self righteousness. And I know I need Jesus because I'd probably ask the question too. I'm just trying to figure this thing out. And God is so good because it's all about the heart. That's what it comes down to, trying to figure out the rituals behind it. It's like, no, but then trying to figure out the heart behind it. Yes, that's where he's at. So when we apply this to work, a scripture that also came to mind where Jesus essentially says this kind comes out only by prayer and fasting. So this isn't really meant to touch on fasting. That's not where I want to go with this one, but I want to really touch on the idea of believing, because I'm fascinated with how Jesus says, how can the guests of the bridegroom fast while he is with them? And so oftentimes I don't really feel like we believe Jesus is with us. We're trying to do something to get him to appear. But the truth is, he is with us. Okay. And like I said, certainly this is not to negate fasting and the beauty behind consecrating, and coming against your own desires and what it is that you want that's outside of God. But really, this is to me amazing because it just focuses on I'm with them. The crowd that's following me is not fasting because why would they? I'm right here with them. I can provide everything they need. And I think it's important to believe that at work. I know there's been times where I have had so much on my plate in various different jobs. And I've also seen others that have had it. And I'm not trying to compare because there's been times too that I haven't done well with this, but I say it from a really pure place. I am amazed a lot of times when I'm able to get done things in the manner in which I'm able to do it, and that I'm, not stressed, or I'm sane, I have a sound mind, I'm happy and joyful and ready to go back to work and do it all again the next day. There's been times where I haven't had that, where I felt so overwhelmed, where I was losing hair. I think I shared that with you before. It was dreadful. And my mind was like so consumed. And even being around me, I know it was just not great because I didn't even like being around myself. I was so consumed with work and all that I had to do. And now, thank God I don't have that feeling. I've certainly grown up a little bit, matured in life in the Lord, and gotten to know him and really believe that he's with me, and to take it a step further and just act like it and know it that he's with me in all that I do, even at work. Again, I think I can't say this enough. You don't just not believe that God is with you when you go to work. That may be what the world says. When you believe him in everything. And work is a huge part of that. So I think this scripture is really, really good because I love that he says they cannot, so long as they have him with them, the bridegroom. And Jesus is that for us. But certainly what I'm getting out of this when it applies to work is just knowing that God is with you. That makes a huge difference in everything you do. Imagine going up against something really, really challenging. Imagine being a leader and being responsible for people and feeling like the weight of their success is on your shoulders. I can't imagine. I actually really, love praying for people that have a lot of responsibility. Sometimes it's easier to judge and say, I would do this or I would do that, but you don't know what you would do. And you don't even know if you want that because it's a great responsibility. But I can't imagine doing that without the leadership and the relationship of having God with you because it's too much for any one person to bear. And I don't believe we were meant to carry that level of weight. I don't believe that. I believe that God can do it. And I believe that God can use you, but it's so much better when He does it. And I'm not just trying to throw off responsibility. Actually, I am. I am. Because I know for a fact that in our own human strength, it can't be done. And here's why it can't be done. Oftentimes, let's say someone, doesn't believe this wonderful, beautiful word, and they think, no, I'm well equipped. I'm well educated. I am just well on my way, and I don't need this. And they do it in their own strength. Oftentimes, what I see comes of that, it's destruction from folks that I know that have that, even from friends and family and people that I know and love that have that perspective. Oftentimes, what you will hear is a sense of, I did this. And it's very arrogant and really nasty, to be honest with you. It's not pleasurable to be around that. Oftentimes, people like that can't have sympathy. Like I said, when we looked at the tax collectors, they can't, it's hard to have sympathy for others when you feel like you've done it and you've gotten here. And you're the boss. So I think, you can easily look and say, well, no, I'm a leader. I did what I need to do to get here. I'm getting paid for this, right? That's often another thing. It's like I'm getting paid for this. So that's, my reward. And so I have to take on all of this weight. But I would invite precisely leaders to lean on the Lord to not have to strive and work to get it right. The work that you have to do is really believing and doing what He tells you to do and believing that He's, here for you and can help you. And again, it doesn't negate working hard and doing what it is that you say you're going to do and having integrity and doing whatever it is that your role requires. But I think when you can take the pressure off of yourself and say, God, I need you in whatever space you're in. I know in the spaces that I'm in, when I have a lot of tactical things to do, a list of like never ending list of to dos, a lot of times where I find myself is that I just have to like do a lot of stuff. Like a lot of tasks. I've always been in those types of positions and I'm thankful for that. But oftentimes it's just so much that I don't even know where to begin, but I know where to begin because I know I'll begin with the Lord. I can remember a time when my grandfather used to tell me, he'd say, look at your grandma and look at me. He used to like to tease my grandma a lot, but he'd say, your grandmother starts the day and gives me a list of everything she has to do. And by 10 o'clock, she's already got herself worked up because she's so anxious about trying to complete this list. He's like, but I don't do that. I don't go around telling everybody what I have to do. I pray. I have a list in my mind of what I want to achieve. He said, I'll get out here. A lot of times when he was retired, he worked outside and I would help him with whatever his little task was for the day. And he would say, get a hymn on my mind, get a song on my mind, and start singing, Great is thy faithfulness, oh God, my Father. And allow the Lord to help me finish up my work. And you know what? The truth is, he was right. He really worked lightly and lightheartedly. And that was just a lesson I took from him. When I feel like my grandma many times, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have all this to do. How in the world am I going to get it done? How are we going to get there? How are we going to get through this project or whatever it is that I'm on? I just remember what my grandfather told me. Really, it goes back to trusting in God, believing that He's there for me, not trying to make it work in my own strength or trying to do some type of ritualistic practice to get it. But I believe that He's with me. And I get that song on my mind and I do whatever it is I have to do to believe and trust him and to know that he's right there and he'll see me through it. He'll see me through it and he'll see you through it too. He's already seen us through it. So I'm very thankful that as I'm talking through, I've gotten some thoughts and ideas. But like I said, I'd welcome yours. And thank you so much for watching this episode of Worthy Work. Have a great day. Bye bye.